welcome to the Two Steps Back podcast with me, your host, Dave Christie. This podcast is going to challenge you. This podcast is for small businesses looking to grow, looking to drive, and looking to share information and learn new things. Each week, we're going to learn a new topic. We're going to talk on a new subject, and it's going to come directly from business out there today. We're going to share that advice together. So if you're sitting comfortably, let's change that. I would say most businesses are not preparing enough on a day-to-day basis. And I include myself in that. This week's podcast is all around you don't prepare enough and looking at the steps that we can put into play and the reasons behind why preparing is so important when we're addressing business, networking, meetings, and thinking around how we're strategically moving our business forward. I'm Dave Christie, and this is the Two Steps podcast. You do not prepare enough. Let that sink in for a moment. Think about it. Do you? Each and every day we have multiple tasks on our to-do list as business owners. We wear our business owner hat, and that has lots of different responsibilities. So what do? Well, speaking with the many clients that I've spoken to, what most people do is they book their diary 9 to 10, 10 till 11, 11 till 12, maybe a half hour for lunch, 12 till 1, 1 till 2, and they do their day to day. But where is the planning time? Where is the opportunity for you to plan what it is that you're going to say, what it is that you're going to do, and how are you going to implement that? And I think importantly, do you see the value in it? Because if you don't see the value in what's happening, why would you do it? Why would you change anything? It's working okay right now. Why would I prepare more, Dave? Well, that's sometimes what clients say to me. But everything is going okay. I don't need to prepare. Oh, great. And then we look at that in more detail and what that preparation looks like. Let's take a client that I've worked with recently who was very good at. If you saw them in day-to-day business, they were very competent. They were on top of everything. Their business is successful. They, on the outside, drive a nice car, live in a nice home. Everything is great. But actually, when we started to get into the sessions and talk through certain scenarios, it transpired that a lot of the success was backdated. A lot of the confidence was waning. And the reason for that is because times had changed. From the successful last 24 months, business had changed, scenarios had changed, the working environment had moved on. And they were still kind of clutching to a 2 years ago philosophy for their business, a 2 years ago strategy, and an outlook that was dated. And it was starting to show the cracks. So we looked at how they spend their time, and we looked at the things within their diary. First off, networking. They still go to networking. Networking was very successful for them. Perhaps a year ago, 2 years ago, not so much now. But they still went and everybody knew them because the environment had changed. So they weren't getting out of networking what once they used to. Why? Well, like all of us, we get a little complacent. We walk into a room, we know people. We get to stand up and talk about our business, and I hear people say, you know what I do by now. And we don't put the effort in that we want used to. We don't hold ourselves accountable to making sure that every encounter and every opportunity that we have to talk about our business, we're doing the best light possible. Because business is going well now. That's what we did 2 years ago. That's what we used to do week in, week out. Every week when you're hungry, you need to eat. So You'll be sure to put in the right amount of effort. You'll prepare what you want to say when you're going into those meetings. You'll think around who it is that I need to speak to, who I'm looking to convert. You might have a prospects board on the wall for each of the different meetings or on a CRM. And you can look at the messaging that you want to convey to ensure that people are interested in you. But as people get to know you and as your business starts to grow, you don't need to prepare as much. You're busier. So when are you going to have the time to prepare? Because you aren't as quiet as you originally were. You're now really busy. So things start to slip. And as I tell a lot of my clients, if you're 100% focused today and tomorrow you're at 99%, would you notice? I'd say not. So if you wouldn't notice, in a month, you could be at 70%. In 2 months, you could be at 40%. And you wouldn't have realised at all that your attention to detail, your preparation, and your resilience to the day-to-day runnings and drivings of your business had changed. So preparing has to stay back at the forefront of what you're doing. And that will lead into what this week's challenge will be for you, off the back of what are you going to do, how are you going to keep yourself accountable this week. Because the challenge is going to be around taking those 2 steps back and really having that thought about what it is that you prepare for and how you prepare for them. Take 10 minutes, look at your calendar. What are you going to prepare and how are you going to prepare for it? Is there an event? Is there a networking event? Is there a meeting you're going to? Is there a coffee that you're having? Are you preparing for it? Are you understanding? Are you taking some time to look at someone's LinkedIn profile, understand their latest news, understand their latest projects so that you can talk about it and show them that you're making the effort to take the time to understand them? I'll leave that challenge with you, and do let me know how you're getting on with these challenges. It's great to hear your feedback. So let's take that step backwards and go back to talking around that event and what we're doing, because we've got a bit complacent. Well, now what happens is you stand up and you just talk. Hi, you know what I do, and you just have a general conversation. You might go to an event again. You speak to people on a day-to-day basis. And potentially, and this is the one thing that I see more, you start doing more and more business with friends because you've grown a network. But you are only and can only be as big as your network. So we should be, and wanting to be, consistently increasing that network, because people will naturally fall out of it, move on, get busy. But if you don't start increasing your network, going to different events, trying to drive new customers and clients, trying to engage more people on social and increase your awareness of your brand and your business, then how will you ever expand and grow? And this is coming back to getting uncomfortable again. We should always be slightly uncomfortable, and we always need to note these little trigger points and really sit down again as part of our weekly reflection and look at the time that we are spending on preparing for each and everything that we are doing to ensure that we're maximizing the opportunities for us and our business and for our growth. I look at this podcast as an example. I have some notes in front of me here. You may see me look down every now and again just to refer to them. I can't work off scripts. I'd lose my trail of thought. But I do prepare for these podcasts. I do my research on tools and techniques. I think back and collate data around client interactions and conversations that I've had in different environments around the region. And I collate those here to make sure that I'm giving the right levels of advice. I'm putting some options out there for you to think about. I'm hopefully challenging you. And of course, that I'm not overly repeating myself or saying things that I shouldn't be saying or saying things that I've already said. But what are you doing? How long do you spend? Why would you do that if you feel like it's already working? Well, I look at this as an example. This is a 15-minute podcast, and I've probably spent half an hour preparing for it behind the scenes. At a networking event that I go to, I'm probably preparing for 20 minutes, potentially for an hour meeting. So it's normally 20 to 25% of the time. The podcast is different. This is different because I'm trying to cram a good level of information to make this relevant and helpful for you, the listener, whilst also noting that I've got only a certain amount of time to do that. But if I want to go to a networking event, or I'm going to a meeting, let's take a meeting as an example. I was meeting a client recently, so I needed to do a couple of things. I was meeting them at a venue that I didn't know. So the first thing I needed to prepare for was the journey. Google told me it was a 40-minute journey to where I needed to go. So I knew I needed to bake in an hour and 10 to ensure that I got there in a good amount of time. As it happens, I hit traffic. If I'd have failed to prepare that schedule and that route, then I would have been late, flustered, off my game when I went to go and speak to them. Then, of course, the first impression. Well, this is a potential client, so I need to know a little bit about them. They filled in a form online and sent me some overall details, and that's great. I've got those notes and I've read them, so that's further preparation. But now, what else can I do? How can I go above and beyond? Because I think that there might be a client that would work well with me. So I want to show them that I've taken the time. So I've been onto their social media, been onto their LinkedIn. I'd seen that they had recently created something new and launched it. So I made a note of that to ask them about that because I wanted to find out more. Not only did I want to show them that I had paid attention and done my research, but I also wanted to understand the impact of that on their business and how it was performing, as this might be an area that we would be talking about later down the line. I also looked at their social media that was active and open, and I looked at Instagram to see that they had been at several events recently, one of which that I normally frequent, and there was a picture within there of a couple of people that I know quite well. So instantly I can start to build a rapport with that person because I can mention those people. I was just doing a bit of background research before this meeting and I see that you knew Stacey. Yes. Oh, wonderful. Now we're having an open conversation and we're bonding over something because there is a commonality. Maybe they have a dog. Who doesn't love a conversation about a dog? Cat people, that's who. So make sure that you do your little bit of research and get those little bits in and find those commonalities that will help you open up those conversations. If I'm going to a networking event and I know the event I'm going to, and maybe I have a rough idea of who's going to be there, then I may have certain things that I need to prepare for that. So I may be preparing a conversation around, what did I speak about that person with last time? Let me go back over my notes and see what conversations I had and where we're at in that conversation. Maybe they've hinted that they wanted a coaching session as an example, or might wanted to explore mentoring, but they haven't quite got over the line yet. So I might want to pick up on that again and ask them a question about how things are going in relation to the mentoring and think around how I might put some questions towards them for that. But I also might be thinking at the same event, I know most of the people here. I'm going to ensure that I speak to at least 2 people that I do not know yet. And if there is no one there that I don't know, I'm going to speak to the people that I know the least. As most of you know by now, I love to play my life by a little game of Guess Who. And I can't play my game of Guess Who if I don't prepare. And to prepare for that, I need to understand the questions that I need to ask to ascertain whether these are people that I would think I can do business with, or people that I think that I can help with their business, because it's a two-way street. And actually, a lot of my referrals have come from people who have been recommended by somebody that I have helped. That's just another little one to think about. It's not always about what you're out for yourself, and sometimes you're planting seeds. Not all of them grow simultaneously. Some will grow later in the year, some might grow 2 years down the line. I actually had someone call me up from a year ago who had said, I came to one of your talks a year ago, now is the right time, can we have a conversation about the potential of mentoring? Absolutely. You never know how and when things will be affected. So if you fail to prepare and say something that you shouldn't do, or that you don't say something that you could have, you never know what opportunities that you're missing. So how else can you prepare? Well, as the time of this podcast going out, it's September. I'm already thinking about 2025. I know, it's a long way out, 4 months to go. So why am I thinking about preparing for 2025? Well, 2024 is not gone yet. So there's still some time to implement things and change things. So I'm starting to review my year to date. I'm starting to do the research on what has worked and what hasn't done, and prepare some stats around how I'm tracking. Am I up or down? How my business has evolved? Do I need to bring in more team? How do I feel? I'm going back over all my notes and my monthly notes, my accountability calendars that I keep every month, looking at what went well in different months or what months were potentially better than others. And I'm utilising all of that data to prepare my 2025 plan. What seems achievable, what I can push myself to try and achieve, and maybe looking back at some of that data, areas that I thought weren't possible that now may be possible. Now I can implement those in. And also, and I'm nearly done for my 2025 plan, once I've prepared all of that, I've got another 3 months to ensure that I can finish the year strong in preparation for starting next year even stronger. Whereas if I didn't prepare, I'd see out the year as I did, great. There's no harm in that. And then I'd get to the end of the year, and then maybe over Christmas or around that time, I might quickly look back and think, well, I need to prepare. There's lots of masterclasses on. That day we'll be running a masterclass. Shall I go to? Oh, I haven't got time. I'm going to an event. I'm going to a Christmas party. The kids have got a nativity. There's lots of bits and pieces going on. And actually, that last quarter is really important and vital for some businesses. And you will not have the time or the resource to put into preparing yourself properly. So then you start in 2025 on the back foot. You haven't got a goal. You haven't thought everything through. Your business strategy isn't exactly where you wanted it to be, and in the little bit of the back of your head knows that you didn't put that effort in, and you know that maybe this isn't the right strategy for you. You're getting to March now. Things aren't panning out as they wanted to. Things might not be going according to plan, and it all starts to unravel a little bit. And all because there's a little subconscious voice in there that will say, oh, I wish I'd have planned. So this is why it's important to prepare. You're doing something now that your future self will thank you for. And if you can kind of live by that motto, doing something now that you tomorrow, you next week, or you next month will thank you for, you won't go too far wrong when you're looking at planning. So now, for me, I can finish this year strong. I can go into the new year relaxed, knowing that everything is in play. And then as the year progresses, I know that I've got the strongest plan possible. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe things need to change, but I know it's from a good base, and I just need to make tweaks to assure that I'm on the right track, rather than just bolting things together at the last minute in a slapdash manner. We all know that when we do things last minute, nothing turns out as we plan it to. Yes, sometimes there's moments of genius, and I hear the people that are talking around, but I work great under pressure, Dave. Yes, you might, but you will not have time to see all the options and opportunities that are around you. So, as we wrap up the podcast for this week, you have your goal to think about what you're going to prepare and how you're preparing for things. Do let us know, as I said, as always, but make sure you're doing that thing today that your future self will thank you for tomorrow. And I'll see you next time. I've been making content for a long time now, and most of that I've been doing myself. So when I knew it was the time for me to step up and step the levels up, I turned to the team at Motion Focus Media. First of all, they had great reviews and have been recommended to me by a number of people. When you are speaking in front of the camera, it can be daunting, it can be difficult, especially as a small business owner, and it's not something that you would do as your first thought in the morning. The team are amazing. They make you feel at ease, they talk you through the process, and the results have been astounding. They've been able to level up my game, they've been helped me to broaden my reach and my personal PR, and have attracted new customers to my business through the quality of the video, the reels, and the podcasts that they've created. So if you're looking to level up your video content, social media, or any type of videography work, I totally recommend the guys at Motion Focus Media.
Thanks very much for listening to the Two Steps Back podcast. I've been Dave Christie, your host. And as always, please do like, share and comment below if you would like to find out more information, ask any questions, or share this with people that you think would benefit from it. We'd be greatly appreciative of it. A lot of work comes into these podcasts, a lot of data, a lot of research, and hopefully the more people that we can help and support, the better it'll be for everybody. We need to rise everybody up together. Thank you.